Good morning and good evening, all Dharma friends or variables. I hope you have had a great day yesterday and also can sort of experience some aspects or some level similar to Nirvana. So I hope you did you did experience some sort of tranquility. Is kind of the quality, a sort of quality, part of quality of nirvana actually. Okay, so let me share with you my screen now. Oh, sorry. Can you see my screen?
Yes, very well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Yesterday we talked about some aspects of nirvana, such as non-Buddhists' idea about nirvana, and we have touched the nirvana taught by the Buddha, but we don't explain more about the part in Buddhism. So today I will spend more time to explain and sort of to help everyone can understand nirvana correctly. Okay. So yesterday we end up with the story about a blind man found in Christianity. The answer why a man is born blind, according to the teaching of Christianity, is that God wants to reveal his power. But there are still so many people born blind. So does God really have to show his powers in such a way over and over again? Well, you can think about this. Okay, such questions can only be answered with the teachings that results arise from karma. In other words, everything one experiences in each life is a result of the wholesome and unwholesome karmic forces created in the past. The wholesome and unwholesome karma created in this life will in turn yield results of happiness or suffering in the future. Fueled by the effects of karmic forces, sentient beings experience different results, one life and after the next, without end. One reaps what they sow. It has nothing to do with the rewards and the punishments of a God. If we want to end cyclic existence, many people may immediately assume we need to eradicate our karmic forces. But actually, karmic forces cannot be eradicated. We can only reduce or offset its effects. And the good news is there's no need to eradicate it. Do you remember what is it that we have to eradicate? Can you remember? But definitely not karma. The answer is defilement. So the things we need to address is our defilement or vexation. Okay. What is the meaning of defilements? Defilements are also called vexations, and they are the many unwholesome and impure elements in our minds. It is easy for people to comprehend that when a person does bad deeds, it is driven by greed, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and other such defilements. So when we say that karma comes from defilements, that is, they arise due to defilements. This is what people generally understand. But during our daily life, we work hard for our country and our society. Such wholesome karma cannot be said to arise from defilement, right? No, still influenced by the defilements, actually. Let me explain why. This is where one needs to pay special attention to the meaning of defilement in Buddhism. The truth is, what wholesome karma is also inseparable from defilements. Defilements are the source of all karma, actions, or deeds. In particularly, we all have the defilement of ignorance, that is, not knowing properly selflessness, and which also called emptiness. And we have a deeply ingrained view of a self. Whether the action is good or bad, generally people do it of themselves. That is, they do things for the sake of their livelihood, wealth, health, reputation, power, family, race, and country. Everything is underscored by the link to oneself and resolves around oneself. So, although we did some wholesome deeds, but the wholesome deed also links to self, which is the sort of fundamental root of defilement. Okay. If there were nothing in it for oneself, then there's no interest to do such good deeds. Therefore, not only are unwholesome deeds driven by defilement, but wholesome deeds are also driven by defilement. Wholesome deeds that arise due to defilements are not entirely pure. Its quality can change into unwholesomeness, actually. Well, let's take charity work as an example. Such kind of work is, of course, wholesome, right? However, because the charity work is mine, okay? So when we see others do the same kind of charity work, we begin to compete. And some people, whether intentionally or unintentionally, will do things to abstract the other charity group. We hear so many such things. Some people think that such kinds of charity work must be undertaken by themselves. And when others do that work, they feel no empathy or may try to undermine others' charity work. In this way, what was the wholesome deed has become spoiled due to the mischief of our self-view, which makes us either attached to our own ideas or prioritize our own benefits. In everything we do, the focus tends to resolve around oneself, my family, my country, my religion, my beliefs, my ideas, my, me, right? Or everything around ourselves. So that's why wholesome deeds still connect to defilement. Okay. This is not to say do not bother to help out at charities. It is good, and I would encourage you all to volunteer. But try to apply the Dharma and practice selflessness and emptiness when helping out. Or even use it to help yourself reflect on your attachment to the self, and then to slowly peel it away. When we decide to do a good deed, something good does arise from our actions, but these actions still contain defilements, and when our defilements get out of control, what was good can change into large-scale acts of harm. So therefore, the activities of ordinary human beings may be wholesome or unwholesome, but all our activities are inseparable from the influential power of self-attachment. That is, all actions are inseparable from defilement. In this way, wholesomeness yields happy results, while unwholesomeness leads to suffering. While we carry our actions with the body and mind, there is always an attachment to the self, and everything is taken to belong to oneself. So it would be best if everyone listened to me and follow my instruction. This is how self-view manifests itself. The meaning of self is to have control. Well, this meaning is from the Indian language, Sanskrit or Pali, Atman. So it has the sort of meaning of control. Control means everything falls under my control and directions. Self then becomes the source of cyclic existence and wholesomeness. Self-view is like a force that draws things together and causes people, matters, society, and countries to establish a connection based on their self-view. So self-view makes things merge to become one. The self-view develops into a kind of mental strength and has the function of aggregation. Why is it that each sentient being, whether human or animal, manifests a separate individual beings. Why? The answer is because there's self-view. All actions of wholesomeness and unwholesomeness come under the influence, leadership, and aggregation of self-view, which then creates separate individuals that are different from others. This is like a young couple who get married and begin a family. Later down the track, due to differences in thinking, arguments arise, and it ends in divorce. But when the right causes and conditions come together, those who are divorced will find someone else to come together and begin a new family. Why is it that after separation, there's another coming together again? This is because of a longing from the body and mind. And for the sake of oneself, each being tries to attract a partner to come together. The process of forming individual body or beings is like this. As we age and die, the body and mind's aggregation begins to break up. But because of desire from self-view and self-attachment, this will initiate the wholesome and unwholesome karmic forces that have self-view as its source, which then results in a new body and mind coming together, a new being. After birth, there's death, and after death, there's the birth. This is an endless continuation. When the aggregation falls from this self-view is absent, then there is liberation from this phenomenon of continuous cycles of birth and death. The Arahats and Buddhas have already attained liberation from cyclic existence. While still alive, they are like ordinary people. They speak, carry out tasks, and other various activities, and so on. Their karmic activities are wholesome, and a Buddha's karma is perfectly wholesome. Yet, their wholesome activities do not create karmic forces that can bring forth cyclic existence. So, for those enlightened beings or sages like Arahats or Buddha, when they realize the truth, or that is, attain the Nirvana, they're still alive. They still have to eat when they are hungry, and so on. But the different thing is they don't create the karmic forces that will lead to next life. Okay. So what is this so? Why the karmic forces will not bring forth cyclic existence? It is because the sages are unlike ordinary beings. Ordinary people have self-view as their basis, which brings about separate individuals. And when this body and mind breaks up, there is a longing for the individual to continue on. The sages have removed self-view and realized selflessness. Therefore, when they pass away, it is the final end. That is, they are liberated from cyclic existence. So all humans and sentient beings in this world have this longing to last forever. There is an underlying wish to never die. This is essentially the error of taking what is impermanent to be permanent and attaching to what has no self as the self. When death finally arrives, we still long for some form of continuation. We seek an existence in the future. This is called desire for a future existence. Therefore, after death and in reliance on the wholesome and unwholesome karmic forces we have created, a new life is manifested as the result of past karma. If one's wholesome karma is stronger, then the subsequent new life is pleasant. If the unwholesome karma is stronger, then the fruit gained is unpleasant. For this reason, unless one has ended cyclic existence, it is wise to create more wholesome karma so that we have better life, okay, and have less obstacle when we practice the Dharma. So in short, cyclic existence arises from karma and karma arises from defilement. The underlying source of defilement is self-view. Until this self-view is destroyed, the problem of cyclic existence will never be resolved. So now that we understand better the problem of life and death, and if we want to be liberated from cyclic existence, we must end our defilements. As long as we have defilement of ignorance, we will continually experience birth and death. When we attain Nirvana, we end cyclic existence. That means there's no more births and deaths, which is the special characteristic of Nirvana. Buddhist practitioners cultivate meditation and develop wisdom to gradually end defilement. And it is possible to experience the state of no rising and falling, which is Nirvana, in this very life. So yesterday, a Dharma friend asked if Nirvana attained after death. No, we can experience or attain Nirvana here in this life. At this state, all the defilements, the Nirvana, the state of Nirvana, all the defilements that are grounded in self-view have ceased. And so the ability to create it, defiled karma also cease. That means there's no more fruition of future lives because self-view no longer arises. Any deed that is undertaken is no longer motivated by selfishness. Modern people like to use some lofty claims such as to be totally impartial or to work for the greater good of all beings. Yeah, very good slogan. Even for those who are enthusiastic about charity work for the public, it is unavoidable that they plan activities that prioritize their own preferences. Take the COVID pandemic vaccine issue as an example. All scientists work together from all over the world to develop vaccines. But now that vaccines are available, the rich countries look after themselves first, then think about the poor countries. Like Australia and New Zealand, they have been fortunate to control COVID early, and being islands, they can shut border easily too. They contributed a lot of money to a World Health Organization fund to buy vaccines for poor countries, but only after securing vaccines for themselves. So although the intentions are good, there are still issues of impartiality. Ironically, the virus is more impartial, I think. It did not discriminate by age, gender, race, or religion. Virus attack everyone impartially, okay? So those who have ended defilements possess profound wisdom and are able to awaken themselves to the point where self-view is eliminated. Defilements no longer arise in them, and they are liberated from cyclic existence. These people are known as a sage in Buddhism, and only a sage who has thoroughly penetrated selflessness with profound wisdom can be regarded as possessing the highest virtue. Some people misunderstand that and think that Nirvana is attained after death. They do not know that many of sages who attain Nirvana and realize it while still alive in this life. That is, such sages have personally realized Nirvana long before they pass away. When we are able to eliminate self-view and realize Nirvana, everything is liberating and nothing worries or hinders us. Just like the saying, joy and sorrow do not move the heart, and being carefree anyway. In summary, as long as one is able to personally experience no arising and falling, that is called realizing Nirvana. Okay. The original intent of Buddhism emphasize the personal experience and attainment of Nirvana in this very life. But in our modern times, there are not many Buddhists who seek liberation in this life. Here is the story for you. Once there was a bhikkhu, a monk, who lived in hermitage to practice meditation. A heretic saw him and commented, "You must be practicing to secure happiness for your future life." The monk replied, "No, I am practicing to attain happiness in this very life. This is because the state of Nirvana is attainable by practitioners in this very life. That means in this very life, we can attain great freedom and liberation. This attainment of Nirvana can be achieved by practicing diligently to overcome our defilements and, importantly, to break through the defilement of ignorance and eradicate this fundamental defilement." Okay. Our physical bodies that are born, age, die, arise as a result of our past karma forces. Once the combination of body and mind come together, it is unavoidable that there will be shortcomings and suffering. Once we are born, then this body becomes a manifested reality, and in this life, it is impossible to completely resolve the problems associated with this body. For example, even the Buddha experienced back pains in his old age and got food poisoning. The ending of cyclic existence cannot be attained by focusing on changing this undesirable result, which is our physical body. We have to deal with our defilement, not our physical body. It is also impossible to end cyclic existence by focusing on eliminating karmic forces, because karmic forces arise from defilement. So we need to eradicate defilement rather than eradicating karmic forces. Reason being is that as long as there is defilement, karma will be created and karmic forces will bring forth results. If one is able to realize the truth of selflessness to end defilements and attain Nirvana, then karmic forces become deactivated. So the karmic force become deactivated, and so the chain of births and deaths stops. Many people do not understand this process, and so develop misconceptions leading to many doubts. The Buddhist teachings do say, where there's karma, there will be results. In addition, having created such karma, the result will come even after several thousand years. This is because karmic forces remain and does not disappear until they are used up. Therefore, people misunderstand that it is impossible to end our cyclic existence because we have created so many karmas in previous lives, which have yet to all bear fruit. Moreover, in this life, we have continued to create so many wholesome and unwholesome karmas. Besides, in future lives, we will again create karma. In this way, they think like karmic forces are continually being created. So how can we end the cyclic existence and stop experiencing the bitter fruits of karma? This way of thinking clearly indicates a misunderstanding about the Buddha Dharma's principle of cause and effect. One should know that where there is karma, there will be results, but this requires supporting conditions. Defilement is the fundamental condition for karmic forces to bear fruit. So as long as we have eliminated or eradicate the defilement, although we still have a karma seed or karma forces, without the condition such as water, soil, fertilizer, etc., the seed will die out. Okay. Take a soil being as an example. Will it always give you soil being? Soil being seed always give you soil beings? It depends, I think. Most people would answer yes, soil being will eat soil beings, just like broad beings yield broad beings. Okay. But for a soil being to sprout and develop beings pods, there is a requirement for many conditions to be met, such as the seed must be viable, there must be the right soil temperature, water, and so on. If the seed was damaged or there was a lack of water or too much water, then the soil being will not sprout. By the same token, for karmic forces to bring forth results, there's the need for defilement to be the nourishing condition. If defilements are ceased, then the lack of supporting condition means karmic forces will not be able to bear fruit. Clear? Therefore, it is said the ending of karma and its result is the entry to Nirvana. The meaning of ending of karma does not refer to normal karma. Rather, it refers to past karma that are no longer active. This means once defilements are brought to an end, all karmic seeds wither, all karmic seeds wither, and the resulting cyclic existence will also come to an end. All sentient beings have affections. There is love between parent and child, husband and wife, and so on. No matter how deeply one loves another, that love is conditional, I think. The only unconditional love is the love for oneself, self-desire. Therefore, the Buddha says, the greatest love is for oneself. People crave for existence, and even when they are gravely ill, they still hope that they will make it through and will be able to recover. Even when there's no more hope of survival, the hope is directed toward a future life, which is called desire for a future existence. There are some people who feel fear at hearing the word death. In fact, being ill, one experiences suffering. After death, one is unaware of suffering. So what is there to fear? The fear is that this self will disappear. Okay. There is the fear that one's possession, power, and family will no longer belong to oneself. Because of this craving from self-desire, one perpetually experiences the results of cyclic existence. So the problem is self, okay? If this view of self-desire is overcome, then the suffering of cyclic existence no longer arises. That means when the resultant body of this life dies, one enters Nirvana. When a monastic dies, it is common to say Venerable so-and-so has entered Nirvana, which is a very high praise, but it's just a praise, okay? They don't really enter the Nirvana. Okay, but if that monastic dies without having ended their defilements, they are certain to continue in cyclic existence. So how can we say they have entered Nirvana? So it's just a praise, okay? At the point when one overcomes self-view, they end all defilements and realize the true nature of all phenomena, that is, emptiness. This is called attaining Nirvana. Nirvana is a deep personal experience, but it does not mean one no longer feels something undesirable, okay? As long as this body still exists, when one is hungry, they need to eat. I mean, the people who have attained Nirvana, and they have to live like the normal people, normal human, okay? So when they is cold, they need warmth. When they works hard, they feel tired. The same. And enlightened sage still ages and gets sick. However, such enlightened sage are still unlike ordinary people, okay? They are still different, although they look similar. Even though their body experiences pain, it does not give rise to worry and other mental vexations. So the difference is when they hungry, the sage is hungry, they have to eat. But they sort of experience pain. They don't react with defilement or react with vexation. That's the difference, okay? This situation is called Nirvana with residue. The residue refers to existence of the body and mind. So when a sage attains Nirvana, the situation is called Nirvana with residue. They still have the body, okay? So residue refers to the existence of the body and mind. Once the sage dies and this combination of body and mind breaks up, There's no more becoming of a new body, no more new result. And this is called Nirvana without residue. Okay. So this is also described as ending karma and its results. This is entry into Nirvana. Okay. So far we have looked at Nirvana from various aspects, such as the ending of defilements and karma, the cycle of life and death, the aggregate of body and mind, and the different definitions by various Indian religions. That was more like a broader overview to help you understand Nirvana from the general and the Buddhist perspective. Now, Venerable Yin-Shun takes us into a more detailed investigation. We will look at Nirvana in terms of cessation of the aggregates, the body and mind. The next point is to look at Nirvana in terms of the sameness or non-differentiation between true nature or emptiness and manifestation or notional existence. Third, we will cover how Nirvana also embodies boundless compassion. And finally, Nirvana in terms of the transformation, namely a transformation from defiled to a pure state, and the transformation from a deluded to an awakened state. These concepts are important if you want to understand Nirvana properly. Okay. The root cause of defilement is holding onto a self-view. This self-view of this view of self means we are ignorant. That is, we do not understand selflessness. The only way to overcome this ignorance is with the profound wisdom of selflessness or emptiness. Possessing profound wisdom on emptiness of selflessness will allow us to overcome self-view, experience the truth about human existence, and attain true freedom. Attaining true freedom, it is something we can experience through practice in this life. This is what the sages in Buddhism have proven to us. When this life's resultant body comes to an end, that is, the sages die, they no longer endure the result of a cyclic existence. This is what is meant by entering Nirvana. The great Arahats are all like this. When the Shakyamuni Buddha was 80 years old, he too also entered Nirvana. If one tries to investigate this further, it becomes harder to understand. The average person queries, where do we go after entering Nirvana? Many people have this query. And what is it like to attain Nirvana? Concerning these queries, the Buddha rarely spoke about the answers. What the Buddha taught was how cyclic existence continues on, how to end defilement, and how to attain Nirvana. The Buddha don't answer the situation after one enters Nirvana, okay? The state after entering Nirvana is one that need not be discussed because even after explaining it, one would not understand it. Just like a person who is born blind and goes to see a very skilled eye doctor to restore their sight. This blind person will ask, what will it be like after they can see? No matter what the doctor tells him, it is useless because that person has never experienced sight and so will be unable to image it. As long as they accept the treatment, once they gain sight, they will know what it is like to be able to see. However, if the blind person must seek an answer before they are willing to undergo treatment, then their eyes will never experience the brilliance of sight. Nirvana is similar to this situation, okay? Since time without beginning, we have been caught in cyclic existence and never experienced Nirvana. Therefore, the state of entering Nirvana is something we cannot imagine or comprehend, just like a person born blind is unable to know what sight is like. Buddhism emphasizes personal realization. As long as we follow what the Buddha taught, which is to practice the methods to end the defilement and awaken to the truth, we will eventually attain the state of self-awakening and realization. When we experience it for ourselves, there will be no need for further descriptions, right? If we think about this more deeply, ordinary beings have a state of consciousness that is poles apart from the conscious state of sages. So ordinary people has the wisdom of ordinary people and has the gap compared to the wisdom of sages, okay? So it is particularly impossible to infer or explain clearly what Nirvana is like. This will be like an astrophysicist trying to tell a kindergarten class about the black hole and what happens to things that get trapped in a black hole. Okay, I think it's time we need to stop the talk today. Okay, so now we have got 4 minutes left. So if you have any question, please raise your hand and ask. Any question? Is it clear today? I mean, the meaning of nirvana, which is to eliminate or eradicate the self-view, and we can attain the nirvana. So the thing we have to do is to eliminate the self-view, and we will experience the state of nirvana. And also, I have to say is when we say experience nirvana is in the meditative state, okay? It's combined with the meditative state. Okay, so we will leave the meditative state and to live in the normal life. Although we eliminate all defilements, we can experience the transcendental situation which happen in the meditative state when this happens. But we will leave the meditative state, and when we feel hungry, we have to eat. Okay. So I hope you can understand the sages, the life of sages, and they still have to eat. But when they enter the nirvana, which means combined with the meditative states, they when they eradicate all defilement, they experience something very special. But after that, they still have to eat. Okay, but the difference is when they get pain, they don't have a reaction with vexation. That's the point. Okay. Any question? We got 2 minutes left.
I have a question, Venerable.
Yes, please, Jane.
Thank you. This is something you said yesterday at the start when you were talking about the general concept of nirvana. Yes. And prior to that, you talked about definitions. So was the word nirvana then coming into Buddhism from somewhere else? You had mentioned something about it. I forget how you put it, of, being something pleasurable.
Yes. Yeah, happiness. You mean happiness, the quality? Oh, yeah. So nirvana, when we say the level, the state of nirvana, in the state of nirvana, we experience happiness, which means we enter the nirvana with the meditative state. We can experience that transcendental situation. But when we leave the meditative state, when we hit by others, we get hurt, But we don't, the sages don't get angry. They say, oh, that person must be angry with me. They just think about, oh, it must be a cause, and that's the effects. And you know what I mean. So they don't have any negative mental activities. But those qualities such as happiness, tranquility, that is mostly happen when they attain the nirvana with the meditative state. Okay. Is that clear?
It is. It's before you had talked about the concept in Buddhism, you had defined nirvana. It sounded like within another framework. So I don't know if it was just, common usage, how nirvana meant something like, something that, again, brings pleasure or happiness. This is before you had talked about the concept in Buddhism.
Okay, yeah. So in Indian religions, they also practice, or Nirvana also is their highest aim. Okay. But the way they attain Nirvana is to sort of relieve the pain, you know. When you get hungry, you feel you feel upset, and when you eat food, you feel satisfied. And they say, "Oh, Nirvana," you know. Remember?
I see. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I think it's time. But yesterday, just a minute, Larry, can you allow me to share my screen?
I'm just a gentle reminder.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Yesterday, Hannah, I mentioned I will dedicate merits, right? So let me share with you my screen. Okay. So can you see?
It's a little, yeah, you can shrink it a little bit. It's still cut off.
Cut off the head.
On the right side. You shrink it a little bit more.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Okay. So at the end, before we end the talk, allow me to lead everyone to you just you might just follow my wordings. You don't have to chant. Just follow what I chant. Okay. Please join your palms and close your eye and try to have happiness, the feeling of happiness arise in you. And remember what we just heard, the Dharma talk. With all merits I have accumulated from paying respects, making offerings, and confessing my faults, from appreciative joy in others' merits and requesting the Dharma. All these merits I dedicate to all beings for their safety, peace, and attainment of unsurpassed body. Thank you.
Thank you.